Analyzing the harmonic content of a piece of music can help us better understand the basic structure of that music and can allow us to interpret and maybe even add to the music in a logical way. Once a musician knows the system of scale degrees and diatonic triads, it is wise to think of musical structures in terms of numbers. This thought process allows the musician to easily recognize the consistency between all major scales and acknowledge each of them as consisting of one uniform system. Let's have a look at this 2-bar chord progression. Of course, chords can be put together in random ways, but my goal is to try to find a common thread, or to find if there is a relationship already established between these chords. The first thing that a musician should notice is that this particular passage is written in the key of D major. By examining the D major scale, we can see where each of these chords originate from. The minor chord built from E is obviously playing the role of chord number 2. The F sharp minor is playing the role of chord number 3. The B minor is derived from scale degree number 6, and the A major is derived from scale degree number 5. Therefore, the harmonic analysis would look like this. These are diatonic triads. All of these chords are in key. Let's try it again. This 2-bar passage is written in the key of B flat. Examining the B flat major scale, I can see where each of these chords come from. The D minor is derived from scale degree number 3. The E flat comes from the 4th scale degree. The C minor is acting as chord number 2, and the F is chord number 5. The harmonic analysis would look like this. Again, all of these chords are in key. This 2-bar passage is written in the key of G. By referencing the G major scale, we can see that the order of these chords is 3, 4, 2, 1. This is the correct harmonic analysis for this chord progression in the key of G. This 2-bar passage is written in the key of E major with 4 sharps. By referencing the E major scale, we can certainly see that the E chord is derived from scale degree number 1. The A chord comes from scale degree number 4 and will be given the Roman numeral 4. The G chord appears to be out of key. In the E major scale, there is a G sharp, but no G. The way a chord like this is typically analyzed is to indicate that the chord is built from a lower scale degree than the one that is in key. The G is a half step lower than the G sharp that is in key. Musicians typically call this a flat 3 chord, not because it contains any flats. As a matter of fact, the G major chord has no flats. The flat 3 label simply indicates that this chord was built from a half step lower than the 3 chord that is in key. The situation is very similar with the D that is placed on the second half of this measure. The D major chord is built from a half step lower than the D sharp that is in the key of E. The chord on scale degree number 7 in the key of E would be a D sharp diminished chord. The D major chord being used here is definitely out of key, but we can still assign it a number. It is still acting as number 7. However, the D major chord is built from a half step lower than the D sharp that is actually in key. Being that this is a major chord, we will give it an uppercase Roman numeral and apply the flat to that Roman numeral. This D is known as the flat 7 chord. Let's try it one more time from A. A major, of course, being the key that has 3 sharps. The A major chord on beat 1 of measure 1 will of course be known as chord number 1. Moving along to the second half of measure 1, we find a C major chord. Being that this is a major chord, it should definitely get an uppercase Roman numeral 3, but because this chord is built from a location that is a half step lower than the chord that is in key, this will be known as a flat 3 chord. The first chord in the second bar is a 4 chord. The next chord is also built from the 4th scale degree, but it is a minor chord. Therefore, we must assign it a lowercase Roman numeral 4. It is important to understand that even chords that are out of key can be analyzed and properly represented. This exercise can prove to be extremely helpful in establishing a better understanding of basic music theory.